if we could address you directly right now?
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm gonna get washed in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. Keep going a little bit longer.
You know what I love, Steve? Being a jerk.
Listen, dude, we've been doing a show for 90 minutes.
If I had a chance to listen to your last call, we game plan for PJ Hall.
Uncle.
I have a list of guys I would never hang out with. Your name is right on the top.
Do you like the worst song bracket we're doing?
It's considerably better than the supplement bracket. Let's start with that.
I won a limbo contest.
Oh, my God.
Fran Brown joining us.
These guys are working their butts off. They expect to see their fans.
You want extra money just because you're North Carolina? I'm in all right
What
now.
an honor for you and Jordan to be next to me.
Every day.
This is Orange Nation.
There's music, there's fun, there's us. It's everything you could want all in one place.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us. We've made it to the weekend. It's Friday. Stephen Fonte, Paulie Sibilia with you up until 2 o'clock. We've got Riley Figueiras, junior defenseman for the SU men's lacrosse team, joining us at 12:30. 1 o'clock, Jack Joe Keenan, host of George's Box podcast to talk Yankees baseball. Chris Carlson from Syracuse.com here in studio at 1:15. Not that Chris Carlson.
No.
Different Chris Carlson.
Yes,
okay. I apologize. Different Chris Carlson coming in to tell us about the McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center's 100 Holes for Kids event. Aaron Solomon, 1:30, Chief Strategy Officer at Amplify. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout 315-437-7644. What's up, Paulie?
Not much, Steve. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good, too. It was a great night last night.
Yeah?
Entertaining basketball apparently happened. I can't wait for your breakdown of the NIT. Rarely does Stephen Fonte get fired up about anything, but he was texting at 11. I woke up to text messages about how bonkers the NIT championship.
It was a great game. It really was.
Oh, yeah. It was great. We'll have to hear Steve's breakdown of that. I think the biggest news, Steve, is there was a guard in the portal that had a Zoom call, which is what for the older people is a Jetsons type program where you can talk to somebody via video, and it's in conference.
It's a guy that we brought up on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
How about that? We were talking about. How about Nathan George? Is anybody connected with Nathan George? And then a couple hours later, we find out that 3 schools in particular had interviewed him, according to John Rothstein, Syracuse among them. Syracuse, North Carolina, Oklahoma. That is the list that's out there.
And is the program dead? I don't know. But if you're still getting people to talk to you, at least mixed in with that group, you're okay right now. Can you beat North Carolina in a recruiting battle? Because before NIL, it was hard. During NIL, it's probably harder, right?
Yeah, you and I were talking about this before the show, and you said whatever Carolina, find out what Carolina's going to offer, ask them, and then say we'll beat it. And I think that it sounds all well and good, but if Carolina really wants this guy and Syracuse really wants this guy, my guess is that Carolina can beat out Syracuse,
unless Syracuse overpays.
Well, that's where I was going. Is that everybody has a price, and if you get to a point where North Carolina's like, well, we got other options, we're not going to spend that on this guy, and you end up overpaying, as you said, then that's one thing. If Carolina really, really wants him, though, I don't know that you're going to end up seeing him in Orange. With that being said, I brought him up yesterday for a reason, not knowing at the time that they had talked to him, but I think he would be a really good fit for what they have and what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Oh, LA Orange says, Zoom call, must be super interested. That's apparently how he's handling it. He had a Zoom call with 3 schools. Look, that's what they do. Not everybody's doing visits. It may lead to a visit. You do the Zoom call. He is. I was just looking at his stats. Not a great shooter. He's a point guard, though. Average 3 steals. That is an astronomical amount of steals compared to what you were getting out of Syracuse players this year. He was a little turnover happy down the stretch. He turned the ball over 6 times against Jacksonville State in your beloved NIT in their last game. But he is what they're looking for.
He went through a stretch this season in conference against Clemson, Virginia, Stanford, and Cal, where he scored over 20 or more points in 4 straight games. Went 28, 20, 22, 26. And he can rebound, too. I mean, in those games, he had 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 3 rebounds. He's had a few double-digit assist games. I think we talk about checking a lot of boxes, and what these guys look like on paper, the profile of player. I think he makes a lot of sense. He's an ACC guard.
Played at this level.
You don't have to worry about that, about whether or not he can play or handle this competition. He led the conference in assists. He's got some size to him. He's 6'3". He can create his own shot. He can set up his teammates. As you said, not a great shooter, but he had games. You talk about the Jackson State game. He was 4 for 9 from 3 in that game. Like he's had games 5 for 9 from 3 against Virginia. He's had some games where he's hit some threes. That's not necessarily his specialty.
He had 10 rebounds against Virginia also. So
yeah,
he'll scrap.
Yeah. I mean, he knocked on the door of a triple-double a few times this year. So, I don't know. Like I like him a lot for a lot of reasons, and if they get him, great, and if they don't, you move on to the next. But I think that I think he'd be a great fit.
Yeah,
I think he'd be a great fit. So I brought him up yesterday, just kind of like, hey, what about him? And then the fact that they've talked to him and that there seems to be mutual interest, I think that is, that's an encouraging sign.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be one that the Syracuse fans it would be difficult to be mad about, right? That would be one you're like, hey, we got a guy that I've seen tangible things
proof,
from him.
Right?
Yeah.
There's proof. What was it Dino used to say? Belief without evidence. You don't need that in this case. You've got evidence that he can do it at this level and against this competition.
Yeah. And that's what Syracuse needs. There's no room for we'll figure it out if this guy's good enough or not this year.
Correct. Yeah, they can't sign and cross their fingers or sign and hope. They need to know what they're in for with the guys that they're bringing in. And he's a guy that's got a couple years of eligibility left. I know you look at everything as a 1-year deal these days, but he was 2 years at Georgia Tech. Played a lot as a freshman. It averaged about 10 points per game as a true freshman. And then, over 12 points, 6.5 assists this year. Again, he can rebound the basketball, not a great shooter, but I think that he's the guy you're looking for, in my opinion. He's the guy that you're looking for, and hopefully they can land him.
Yeah, they got to be able to outbid and out-recruit North Carolina and Oklahoma. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Is North Carolina really interested in him? It's also another thing.
Sounds like it. I mean,
because they can get pretty much anybody they want.
But it sounds like there is definitely an interest there.
Oh, yeah.
You read a lot of the Carolina-based articles about this young man, and they seem pretty excited about him as well. So it does come down to money. It may come down to prestige. I mean, obviously Carolina is the bigger program, but if you're Syracuse, as you said,
the one thing that normally helps Syracuse in a situation like this is playing time, and that isn't going to help against North Carolina because they have plenty of time.
Yeah.
So. Two top 10 all-time programs, though, going head-to-head for a recruit.
Yeah, I was looking to see what he did against Carolina. It looks like they played him once. He had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists in that game. And that was the game Carolina won by 3. I think Georgia Tech had a huge lead. Carolina came back and won 68-65. So, they saw him up close and personal one time. What did he do against Syracuse? 13 points, 5 boards, 5 assists.
That's pretty good. I'd take
He had a lot of games like that where,
solid.
Yeah.
He's a solid point guard.
Yeah. Contributes on the glass a little bit. A great assist guy. As you said, defender to the point where he had 3 steals per game and could score. And, had some games where he scored a lot.
Yes.
Sign him up.
Yeah. Like people are saying scoring wasn't the problem. Defense was last year. Yeah, but they got to replace all the scoring too.
You need somebody. We've talked about this at length, right? I feel like I'm repeating myself because I am. You need guys that this part of this year's problem was the guys who could play offense did not play defense, and the guys who could play defense were not good at scoring the basketball. And so if your starting point guard is not a liability on defense already, that is a step in the right direction from where they were this year.
Oh, he averaged 1.3. Sorry.
What?
Steals a game. He was in the top 20 in steals. I misread.
You misread? Okay.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, though, he's a better defender than what they had at the point guard position last year, and he can score the basketball better than the player that they had at the point guard position last year. So it's an upgrade. It's a guy who's played 2 years of ACC basketball already. I think that you were asking me about Quadir Copeland yesterday. About, would you take him back? And I said, you could do better, and this is better.
Yeah. The Alphabet guy asked me if this moves the needle. I use that term a lot. I think this would move the needle.
I think it does, too. I think a lot of fans, knowledgeable basketball fans that follow the team and follow ACC basketball, will be like, okay, yeah.
If North Carolina wants him, it moves the needle.
I think it would be a great signing. I do. Just to get back to Quadir yesterday, this thought occurred to me, as I was in the office and we were writing the story for the newscast last night that Quadir had hit the portal. On3's got their list of rankings out. He's the 40th best point guard.
Oh, I had heard he was the best player ever.
If you take the name away and the relationship with the university, if Syracuse were getting the 40th best point guard out of the portal, people would lose their minds. So for those that are really upset that he left or really upset that there's no chance he's going to come back here, just keep that in mind. That would you be happy with the 40th best point guard if it wasn't him? If it was Will Smith or Bill Davis, or what I mean?
Getting jiggy with it, Will Smith? I'd take that.
Not that Chris Carlson, not that Will Smith.
We've already had a point guard who slapped a guy in the face once.
I was giving you a basic name.
Does that go underrated? Like we always talk about the buddy punch, but the Judah Mintz slap in the face was low key unexpected. You called that game.
I was. I called that game. Yes, for TV. That was something. It was about. I mean that whole delay lasted about 10 minutes.
Coach Red got kicked out of the game.
Yeah, that was intense.
We had dogs back then.
Huddled more.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to drop also, speaking of transfer portal, that we don't talk about a lot, Stephen, I brought this up to you. The Syracuse Orange women have been able to retain their whole roster, it seems like, as of right now. I haven't seen one person go in the portal.
Yeah, I think that's a good sign, right?
Yeah, because I think you want continuity and to be able to build off of what you had.
Now, it doesn't mean that they won't be active in the portal and try and pick up a piece or two. But again, I think that when guys go into the portal, I don't think that's necessarily a reflection of the coach.
Yeah.
But I think when players stay, that is a reflection of the coach, right? We agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to get better, but you do get better. You and I, well, at least we disagree on this. You don't necessarily get better as you get older, but you hope that's the progression.
Most players do, right? And I've talked about this at length about there's well, yes, right. I said most players. There are exceptions. I think Benny was an exception. I think Chris was an exception. But most players.
That was very gross cough I just
did. That really was. I was worried for your safety there for a minute.
I didn't mean that to be so nasty.
Most players take it upon themselves. Again, there's an individual responsibility for players to get better. Most tend to do that in the offseason and make, a jump or make an improvement from one year to the next. So, yeah, I think it's expected that, that the players in the program will get better. And I think that when they stay, that's a reflection that they like playing for the coach.
Apparently my cough was so gross that Ryan Mullen could not even tell that I said Chris Bell in the middle of the cough. He was like, why is that guy using the cough button? I was trying to cough out Chris Bell and be funny.
It was very dramatic.
Yeah,
you leaned into that.
It turned into An emphysema cough. Whooping cough.
Yes.
All right. Take our first time out.
Let's do it. 315-437-7644. We've got to get to today's business early in the show because we have so many interviews lined up. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
The transfer.
So who is Chris Carlson?
CJC from our chat.
Oh, I didn't know.
I didn't either.
I wish that.
Well, I did know.
I wish
but
it said that in parentheses. So I'm sorry.
I've made that mistake before.
Okay. CJC, my apologies. I see Chris Carlson. I go with the Chris Carlson that I know, especially in studio. I was like, oh.
You're driving home a cream of the crop, pre-owned ride like no other. Every Toyota certified used vehicle from Burdick Toyota comes with an exceptional coverage policy. Each vehicle undergoes a rigorous 160-point inspection and more. Only the best receive a Toyota certified seal of approval. So come drive home your Toyota certified used Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, or Tacoma, including hybrids. Stop by today for the best APR offers on Toyota certified used and our Burdick Toyota hand-picked used selection. Find your Toyota certified used in person at Burdick Toyota in Cicero or online at burdicktoyota.com. APR financing through participating lenders for well-qualified buyers plus tax, DMV, and $197.50 doc fee.
Syracuse, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Beta Leaf is now
F them kids.
14,000 square feet of new go-to premium New York State licensed products. Whether it's self-care or just a moment of peace, Beta Leaf has exactly what you need. 2921 Erie Boulevard East in the Vision Works Plaza. For adults 21 years of age and older, keep out of reach of children and pets. In case of accidental ingestion or overconsumption, contact the National Poison Control Center hotline, 1-800-222-1222, or call 911. Please consume responsibly.
Pure driving pleasure. Hit the road in the supremely sporty all-electric BMW.
I would hope freshman Anthony. Elijah Moore's just kind of gone silent, right? Like, I haven't heard anything.
Weighing his options.
But I haven't even heard his options. Besides Kentucky.
Steel Palace, I will, after seeing Elijah this year, I would take a freshman Anthony because I don't know what Elijah's ceiling is. I thought he was disappointing.
Justin Bodo on Insta Center. Oh my God. Where do you guys find the time? I didn't even know Pete Corsiniti followed me on Twitter till the other day.
Pete's a good guy.
Yeah, but like, how did these people know who Alex Klein is from? Like, I have no idea who follows me on Twitter. I'm so popular. I do know Alec Baldwin follows me. The PMD from EPMD.
How did that come about?
I don't remember. Albie Sure follows me also.
Marvin Gaye got killed by his dad.
Yes. I have had enough. Yesterday was a day. Ooh, Mike McAllister has Carmelo Anthony follow him. Dave Pash follows me. He's also famous. Adam Richmond follows me. I don't know why he follows me. The Man vs. Food guy.
Oh, yeah.
And the Bizarre Foods guy follows me, too. Andrew Zimmern. I had a Twitter beef with Ice-T once, too. He learned his lesson.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse
I thought that said Earthlings. Got to start with a slow skate today, Steve. Lost in Your Eyes off Electric Youth by Debbie Gibson. She was a youngster when she was popular.
That's why I said she was Britney before Britney.
Yesterday's guest, Rick Giulio.
Yeah.
If you see him, ask him his Debbie Gibson story. Everybody do that.
Is it good?
Oh, he's got a great Debbie Gibson story.
I'm intrigued.
Not made for radio, but it's a great. She was a guest speaker at a symposium he went to on at one of his older jobs.
I believe he has a story. Now I'm thinking about how funny it would be to just start telling people ask blank about their blank story
yes.
when they
that's
don't.
What's great about
when
it.
they don't have one though.
Oh, that would be good too.
Just everybody's going up asking Rick,
Hey.
like, "Hey, what about
Debbie Gibson? What? Why is everybody asking me about Debbie Gibson? I heard you had a great story that wasn't radio friendly. All right. Today's business brought to you by
Grossman St. Moore CPAs.
and their website.
GSACPAs.com. I guess we'll start here just because the news came out this morning that Ja Morant, Grizzlies guard, jumps high, slams hard. I'm a poet now. He did a little finger gun fight with Buddy Hield the other night. NBA is like, hey, tone it down. So what does Ja do last night in a 30-point effort against the Miami Heat, including a game winner? He did the finger gun celebration again. Got fined $75K. I guess it's a two-pronged question. One, do you care about the finger gun celebration, or do you think Silver's going a little bit hard? And two, he got warned. He did it the next game. Is $75K enough? I remember Ja got suspended 25 games because he was flashing a gun on Instagram Live, and that was after he got in an altercation at somebody's backyard, and apparently there was a gun. So there's a history. It's not just hey, cut it out. It's, hey, you've gotten in trouble for this before, so maybe cut it out.
Steve and I disagree on this one.
We do.
I don't care that he makes shotgun motions after he hits a three or pew-pew finger guns because they're not real guns.
Does it make a difference that he's literally gone on the internet and had a gun, though?
We discussed that also. Yes, it does, but if you're going to do it to him just for that, you got to do it to everybody.
Well, they warned Buddy Hield, too, but no, you're right.
Right, and he, the fact that he was warned, and he has a history with this, and he's choosing to do it anyway. We know what it is, right?
It's insubordination.
We know what he's saying to the league. And so I think the league has no choice but to fine him, right? Had a history. There was a suspension related to that kind of stuff. Not obviously on-court celebrations, but stuff that had happened off the court. There was a suspension. There was a fine. There was a warning. And he continues to do it. And he continues to do it prominently. And when we say finger guns as well, it's not just hey, good to see you, right? It's there's
people
more.
do
more
the archery when they hit them.
Right,
People are just practicing. They're out on the range.
But had been warned, had a history, was told not to do it again. He's like, oh, you don't want me to do it again? Well, watch this. And then the celebrations are getting a little bit more extravagant, I guess. I don't know what the right word is.
The guns are definitely getting bigger.
The guns are getting bigger, and
he's going to have a bazooka over his shoulder.
The league has no choice. The league has no choice but to say, well, we told you not to do it. You're going to keep doing it. So how's this going to end, Ja? If you want to keep doing it, we're going to keep fining you. Maybe it turns into a suspension again. But it's, I have no problem with the league. It's that is his employer, right? He works for the Grizzlies. He works for the NBA. His employer is saying, don't do this. He's like, I don't care. I'm Ja Morant. I make $1 gazillion. So if they fine him $75,000, I hope it's worth it, Ja. I have no problem with the fine.
I'll just real quick, Steve. You were hyped about these new NIT rules last night for the
He was
championship.
hyped about the whole game.
Well, the game was crazy. Like UC Irvine lost to Chattanooga, but UC Irvine had like a point blank layup with half a second left, and the guy absolutely just shanked it. He felt bad for him. He like slammed the ball against the ground.
Did you start watching after I told you the game was in overtime? Did you turn it on?
Some of it. I was outside. My dog had a sick tummy. So
I'm sorry.
We were being slow.
Well, it was a great game. But the reason I texted you guys was just about the experimental rules. And we talk a lot about officiating, right? And so they try these things out in the NIT 1 year, and they see how it works, and then they bring it up for, in front of the committee, and do we make changes moving forward? So these were the changes in the final 2 minutes last night.
Oh, you took a picture of your TV?
I did, just so I could talk about this intelligently.
Look at this prep.
That's a first.
Head coach is permitted to appeal out-of-bounds calls in the last 2 minutes of second half or overtime when the ruling goes against the coach's team. Now, currently, we know how this works. Final 2 minutes, anytime the ball goes out of bounds, even if it's like obvious who it goes off of, everybody wants it reviewed. They review it. They look at the time to the 10th of a second. Oh, it's 27.2. It should be 27.4. We waste 5 minutes every time the ball goes out of bounds. So what this is saying is, yes, you can still do that, but a coach has to initiate that as a challenge, right? If it wasn't off us, it was off them. If the coach gets it right, then it's fine. They get the ball, nothing happens. If they get it wrong, they lose a timeout. If they don't have a timeout, let's say there's 5 seconds left and both teams are out of timeouts and it's a critical call in the game and you know that the refs got it wrong, you can still challenge it without a timeout. That's different than the NFL, obviously. You can still challenge it, but if you get it wrong, it turns into a technical foul, which is 2 free throws. So you better be darn sure that you're right, that the ball is not off you, in order to challenge. The officials cannot voluntarily use replay in the final 2 minutes. They can't say, you know what, we're not sure, let's go look at it. It has to be generated. The appeal has to be generated from a coach. So that's basically it. I mean, what do we think about those changes? Good, bad, or indifferent?
It puts it in the coach's hands. Because the officials, it's like you make a bad call, you're going to get mean mail sent to your house. You're going to go to replay and be like, we watched it back. But if you make it so they can't do it, then it's up to the coaches. Not only that, but like it makes the teams more involved in the finish as opposed to the officials, wasting time and doing all that. So I like it.
Now, I will say this, and I brought this up to Paulie. I'm just going to raise the issue again. So at the end of regulation, Chattanooga was down 1 with just a few seconds left. It was the final possession for them. Guy takes a 3 in the corner, and the defender closed out and went to the side. Well, the guy trying to draw a foul, the shooter, shot. He goes straight up. He sees the defender goes off to the side. He kicks his leg out to the side, which is not a basketball move. Kicked his leg out to the side so that he got clipped by the defender, and they called a foul on the defender. 3 shots, and they're down 1. So sure enough, he steps to the line. He hits all 3. They go up 2. Irvine went down. They ended up getting fouled on a 3. They made 2 of the 3. The game went into overtime. My point is, though, I think this is a step in the right direction. I still would like to see what the NBA has, which is it's not just challenging out-of-bounds calls. It's like that was clearly not the right call. Everybody saw it. You saw one replay, and you're like, that shouldn't have been called. If anything, it should have gone against the offensive player. I would like to see that come over to the college game because I think getting it right, to me, is most important. So if you have the challenge and you could use a timeout if you're wrong, let's do more things than just out of bounds.
I'm down. How about we end that whole shooter leg kick thing real quick? If you get called for kicking out your leg, shooting a 3, it's a flagrant. How about we just end that now? Because it's tripping, and I'm pretty sure tripping is a flagrant. Like if you're on defense and you trip somebody, I'm almost certain that's a flagrant.
Oh, you're saying they should have called a flagrant foul on the offensive player?
Let's make that the rule. Yeah, if you get caught doing that where you kick your leg out to draw an offensive foul, it's a flagrant. So guys will not do it if they're getting flagrants.
So for a while, there was a point of emphasis that if you were caught flopping, that it was a technical, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of gotten away from that in the game. But, yeah, I think that if something like that, it should have been either a no call or if you're going to call something, it should have gone against the offensive player. Should not have gone against the defensive player. But in any event, I digress. You have a kicker?
Dateline Queens, a man performing illegal plastic surgery butt procedures out of his Queens home left a client brain dead on Tuesday. Felipe Hoyes Foronda, 38, was arrested after medics were called to his home. They found the woman in cardiac arrest after she was injected with lidocaine. Would you how do you just walk into someone's house and trust them to, like, enlarge your booty? Like, I get insurance is a problem. This is a cosmetic choice.
These are the times I wish our guests weren't on VMAX.
I'm right there with you. It's like this conversation took a quick turn.
Would you trust, like, I know you would.
No, of course not. No. Of course not. Of course not.
You just live with your flat butt. You don't need to go have some guy come into my basement here, lay on my pool table. We're going to inject you.
All right.
I agree. That's right. I agree.
All right, here's a PSA for you. If somebody's offering butt implants, make sure they're a doctor. Don't be just walking into any...
See some documentation?
Yeah, don't just
I'm gonna
be
go
walking
one step
into
further.
people's houses and just get your butt enlarged.
Don't take them. If someone's just offering those to you, don't take them. That's expensive.
Here's the thing. Doctors don't do them out of their houses or out of those storage units.
Or out of the kindness of their heart. Like, you're getting...
Well, this guy was probably charging.
Yeah, but, like, there's no way he was charging how much it should cost.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, $100 BBL. It's like...
All right. With that, thank you, Paulie. With that, we'll take a timeout. We got a bunch of interviews coming up, starting with Riley Figueiras, junior defenseman, SU men's lacrosse. He'll join us on the other side. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Yes, he does belong in the Hall of Fame. Not even a Syracuse fan or Nugget fan or, I like the Knicks. But he was one of the best scorers of all time. So Susan asking a genuine question. She's not a sports, but he's good. He's good. He deserves first ballot.
I don't write the news, Steve. I just read it.
Well, you choose it. You're the producer of the kicker. And you,
That is fascinating to me. Do I blame the guy for doing it? Yes. Do I blame the person for going into an apartment to get a butt lift? Yes.
An athletic aesthetic from front to back. Lease an all-new 2025 BMW i4 Extra i40 at Burdick BMW for only $429 per month for 36 months. With 5,000.
That was a public service announcement. Send that in as a segment to the awards from me.
I'll just air that for my public affairs.
Don't get your butt injected in a storage unit. Thank you.
10,000 miles per year. 25 cents per mile thereafter. Lessee responsible for excess wear and tear.
I mean, you're right.
Anybody that's listening on VMix, don't do that. Don't go get butt lifts from a stranger. Make sure they're real doctors. Yeah, I saw. Oh, yeah, that. Don't allow them to put cement in your butt either. I've seen that. That was wild. I think that was in Miami.
Yannick? It's definitely center. I believe Yannick will make sure.
She's a real hard ass.
The jaw stuff came out like right after.
Get it, Steve?
What?
Get it? The girl with cement in her butt's a hard ass.
Why are you staring at me?
Get what because she's got a cement butt. She's a hard ass.
And it doesn't have to be that way. Today, a family trust is a must. I'm Terry.
Well, so like I assume we don't have
She's a brick house, Steve.
all of this, so I mean,
Because she's got a cement butt.
you can probably skip around to whatever.
This story's crazy. I saw an interview.
The
with her
McAfee thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts because like I feel bad for her, but at the same time, like maybe I don't get it, but I don't really.
She's just paving the way for other people to get large butts. Because it's cement, Steve.
I feel like if you hold McAfee accountable for that, you set a precedent that anytime somebody talks about something on TV.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't really have a problem with what McAfee did because he didn't name her and he didn't claim that he knew something, right? He was just...
Not only that, but he makes it very clear his show is like entertainment and like comedy
Right, and I think he called it a rumor. Like, I mean, obviously, the fact that it turned out to be false.
Have you ever gotten Botox, Steve?
What do you think?
The Chad asked. No,
Of course not.
No.
Also, like,
Yes.
here's what I'll say too. I believe it's
What?
false, but I don't
No,
like how
yes.
everybody believed it's true and now it turned out to be like. What did they do a DNA test? Like they could be lying. Like come on. Like we can't just pretend we know one way or the other. But everyone was so sure it happened. Now they're so sure it didn't. Like, give me the facts.
Imagine
Get in the lab.
kicking somebody in the butt and it was made of cement. That would be a shot.
Can you get over it? Can we move on?
That'd be
Can
a
we
great-
move on?
The lady had cement in her butt, Steve.
All right, come on. We've got to become professional here, and we've got interviews
It's an
coming up.
actual news story.
Stop trying to seriously defend this right now.
Come on.
Stop.
It's a PSA, Steve.
You're like the kid in school.
Don't inject cement into your booty.
You're like a kid in school who gets in trouble for throwing ice cream across the lunch room, and then you adamantly argue like, she wanted ice cream, so I threw
Hey,
it.
San Diego Q says maybe she was just trying to cement her legacy, Steve.
Certified used in person at Burdick Toyota in Cicero or online at burdicktoyota.com. APR financing through participating lenders.
I'm just reading the news.
DMB in 19750 doc fee.
Catch the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, presented by Nye Automotive Group, Saturday mornings at 11 on ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Out of the blue, it's Debbie Gibson Day. You remember this one?
I do.
Yeah, these were huge in our high school years.
All right, let's go to our guest line. What? Why are you
Nothing.
laughing?
I'm just laughing at what happened during the commercial break, Steve. I apologize.
All right, can you either like get it together or just...
I'm together. It
All
was
right.
just I read a funny news story and you got super mad.
No, I'm not mad. We have other things to accomplish here, and you're being childish as usual. Let's go to our guest line. Bring on our first guest today. Pleased to be joined by Riley Figueiras, junior defenseman for the SU men's lacrosse team. Riley, how are you? Great to have you on.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
All right, I guess let's start with your end of the field and the defense. And coming into the year with new goalie, some new pieces. There's some question. How is the defense going to perform this year? You guys have stepped up and answered the call. Can you just speak to, I guess, and how you would assess and evaluate the performance of the defense to this point this season?
Yeah, I think we've obviously made a pretty decent jump from last year. Adding Michael Grace. Our D mid unit is probably one of the most improved units on our team. Obviously, Jimmy McCool, who's gotten pretty hot as of recent. And I think just the second year with Coach O's system, everything's a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, I mean, I think we're just definitely growing more throughout the season. We've had stints where we're not our hottest, but we've also gone on runs throughout the game where we're at our best, and we're hoping to do that again this weekend.
You mentioned Jimmy McCool, 35 combined saves in the last two games. He has been lights out, especially lately. What's been working for him? I mean, what has allowed him to have such a great season to this point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's just an animal. I don't know exactly what has changed in maybe his warm-up routine. He's obviously played really well throughout the year, but the past two games have been on another level. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's just maybe gaining confidence. Maybe we're playing a little better in front of him too. But some of the saves, especially against Colgate, were crease dunks, and he's just bailing us out, making great save.
Along those lines, you say bailing you out. I mean, does that change your mentality at all when you've got a hot goalie that you're playing with, that maybe I could take a chance here, or I don't have to be perfect, because if I make a mistake or one of my teammates make a mistake, that we've got him as the last line of defense? Does that, I would imagine it gives everybody on that unit some more confidence, right, when you've got a hot goalie that you're playing with?
Yeah, 100%. It gives us all confidence. Obviously, we don't want him to bail us out. We want to
right.
We want to give him shots that he wants to see. I don't think he wants to see the crease dunks. But yeah, I think 100%. I don't know if we want to take a ton of we'll take risks throughout the game, but yeah, definitely. When we don't have to worry about we can force bad shots and trust that he's going to eat those up.
How about you personally, Riley? You were injured your first year and came back last year, had a fantastic year as a sophomore, and now in your junior season, second season playing. How much did last year help you individually heading into this season?
Yeah, I mean, just learning new systems, learning how to play against better players, learning how to play at college instead of high school. Because last year, obviously, I played in high school 3 years ago, then I was hurt, and then now I had to jump up to college. I definitely learning Coach O's system helped a lot. This year, I feel like everyone in the system feels way more comfortable. I think you just learn a lot throughout the year.
You bring up Coach O. He is one of our favorite guests on the show. I love talking with Coach O'Dearna. What's it like playing for him?
I think he's incredible. I think he gives us a lot of freedom. We honestly have a say in the defense. Like, if we're not comfortable with something, it's a dialogue throughout the week with what we're going to do. It's not just him being like, we're going to do this and you guys are going to listen and do what I say, which I think makes us all feel more comfortable with what we're doing because we all have a say in what we're doing. And obviously, like, he brings his attitude, all that stuff. Like, I'm sure you guys could tell he had a super upbeat, positive attitude.
You guys had the back-to-back losses earlier in the year at Maryland and at home against Harvard, and you haven't lost since. And, in doing some of these interviews, we've heard that there was a team meeting after that Harvard game, and everybody kind of got on the same page and said, hey, let's take the pressure off, and let's just take it one day at a time and one game at a time and so on and so forth. And here you guys are, back to number 7 in the polls and on a 5-game winning streak and really playing good lacrosse. Can you put your finger on what changed? I mean, did anything change, or was it just a case of, hey, we play a really tough schedule, you're going to lose some games, and we got to just get back to playing Syracuse lacrosse and we'll be fine?
No, yeah, I 100% think there's been a pretty big change. Like, now what we say is, like, we're obviously focused on the game tomorrow, but we're focused on winning right now, today. Winning Friday. Our captain, Caden Cole, always says Friday's a great team, so we got to beat them. And that's all we got to do. We just got to focus on today and not look too far ahead. Obviously, we're not looking past today.
I like that a lot. I think I'm going to use that with you, Paulie, that Friday's a tough opponent. We got to win today. I like that a lot, actually. Riley, when you look at this Notre Dame team, obviously their track record speaks for itself, right? Back-to-back national titles. Some of the names have changed, but you know that the tradition, the talent, it's all there with the Irish. What are you expecting to see in this game this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect definitely a close game. We're going to have to earn everything that we get. Like, they're always known for being the best, like, ground ball team on both sides. So, I mean, obviously we as a defense, if we can try to pick up those ground balls, limit their second chances, that'll do a lot for us. And I mean, they're just a complete team. Great goalie, great face-off guy, great offense, great defense, great coaching, all that stuff. So definitely gonna have to earn everything this week.
And just the next opponent on a great schedule. I mean, you have nothing easy the rest of the way, right? I mean, the last 4 opponents in the regular season, all ranked opponents, including Cornell, number 1 in the country, next after number 5 Notre Dame. Then you go to the ACC tournament. Then you got the NCAA tournament. Do you like this, like, game in and game out? And does this help you get ready for May, where you're not going to be surprised by anybody you see, right? I mean, you've been playing talented competition every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why come to an ACC school to play all these ACC teams, and obviously Cornell is the number 1 team in the country right now, so playing them is going to be pretty hard too. But again, I think we're still just focused on right now. Friday's a pretty good opponent, so we just got to beat Friday.
All right, Riley, get after it then. Go beat Friday, and good luck tomorrow with Notre Dame in town, and good luck the rest of the way. It's a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks so much for coming on.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Riley Figueiras joining us here on the program. Again, Syracuse, Notre Dame tomorrow inside the Dome. That'll be a 2:00 start, and then it's on to Cornell. They'll play that game down on Long Island next Saturday. Cornell, of course, number 1 ranked team in the country. Duke and North Carolina still to come as they close out the regular season before the start of the ACC tournament. We'll take a timeout here. We'll close out
Solid
hour number 1 coming up next.
Interview, Steve.
Yeah, keep it up. Just keep it up.
Solid as a rock.
Keep it up. Thanks for staying quiet, though, at least during the interview.
Just wanted to let you know that you're solid as a rock.
We'll take a timeout. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next on ESPN Radio.
Did I lose the bird bracket, or did I give it to you, Jordan?
Can you imagine if you lost it? Is that all it takes? Is there only one copy? Like, if I took the bird bracket and ripped it up, would we stop doing it?
No. I would just make it up as I'm going along. I'm a professional. I'm a bracketologist that works out of a storage unit. People want me to bump back with Brick House.
Go for it. I think that would be so funny. Like, that'd be classic. That'd be like a memorable moment.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie unless they're filled with cement. And I don't know why. Cement. Cement. For those of you that can't hear properly.
Visit BurdickBMW.com. By now you've heard that Papa John's on James Street is locally owned and operated, right? Papa John's also offers a large variety of catering options for your upcoming events. Nor order too large. The best.
Although that booty would have a strong foundation, Steve.
Cheese, fresh veggies, and quality meats, no fillers. Dollar slices every Tuesday. Order online. PapaJohns.com, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. Takeout and delivery in Janesville, DeWitt, and parts of Fayetteville. Now open late. Order today. 315-463-7272. Eat better. Salt City deals are here. We're on a mission to see.
Am I laying it on thick, Steve? The cement jokes?
It's a heavy topic.
All over Central New York. Each week will feature a different business. Listen for your favorites to be the deal of the week or get crazy and try someplace new. Double your money and support local restaurants and businesses today at saltcitydeals.com. That's saltcitydeals.com.
The TV used car mega sale.
When she sits down, I bet you she stays grounded.
All over New York for spring cleaning clearance pricing on 400 pre-owned, 250 SUVs and trucks, over 100 certified pre-owned, 150 under 25,000. Our buyers want your car. Scan this code and get it appraised instantly. Clearance markdowns on over 400 pre-owned, all in one location. The used car mega sale event at the warehouse and everywhere at Drivers Village. See more at dvused.com. My doctor just told me
She could have multiple cracks.
Marcus Burton returning to Notre Dame.
Call 833-888-LATE for a free case evaluation or visit nycancerlawyers.com. It's simple. Better new cars really do make better used cars. Find the best of the best used when you choose a Toyota certified used from Burdick Toyota. Sure, every one of our hand-picked pre-owned vehicles offer terrific value, but when you purchase a Toyota certified used vehicle at Burdick Toyota, you're driving home a cream of the crop pre-owned ride like no other. Every Toyota certified used vehicle from Burdick Toyota comes with an exceptional coverage policy. Each vehicle undergoes a rigorous 160-point inspection and more. Only the best receive a Toyota certified seal of approval. So come drive home your Toyota certified used Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, or Tacoma, including hybrids. Stop by today for the best APR offers on Toyota certified used and our Burdick Toyota hand-picked used selection. Find your Toyota certified used in person at Burdick Toyota in Cicero or online at burdicktoyota.com.
Well, it wasn't my fault.
Can I leave the mics on? What'd you do?
Yesterday, the Loon team plane had some issues and got delayed, and they had to postpone the matchup until just about an hour ago.
Okay.
Syracuse sports talk shows on
Loon, sometimes planes, happens.
If you have some
Electric Youth, Steve. This was the name of the album also. Debbie Gibson Day. Oh, this is a banger. I don't even know this one, but I like it. This is a good bump. This has got 80 Miami Vice theme feels, vibes. Steve, I promise I won't make another cement joke.
Don't make a promise that you can't keep.
I won't. I won't.
He's going to follow this up with us.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I am not going to make one. It's bird bracket time. We may have multiple running at the same time because of a flight delay. In the bird bracket yesterday.
Yeah, I got it.
Jordan made the joke. I just stole it.
All right. So
a flight delay.
What's the matchup? Yesterday was like Loon against Cuckoo, right?
Yeah, and Jordan
Crazy,
can just,
right?
yeah, Jordan can just pick whatever one he wants. He's got it right in front of him.
I don't want to pick any of them.
He's got to be able to read your writing, though, is part of the problem.
Oh, I can read it better than he can. That's why I keep the bracket.
I thought one was called the Fig Eater, and it was
the fly catcher.
Fly catcher.
And he added a bird to the bracket, but it was already there in another place. So it's just
the committee is very busy. It was like the NIT this year. We invited a team that shouldn't have been there.
So we're on to 5-12s after today.
Okay.
Oh no. We got to go back to the bottom. Steve, can you do me a favor, Engaging Radio? Can you Google an NCAA tournament bracket and tell me what matchup goes above the 215? Because it doesn't say the actual seeds. Probably just
be the 7-10.
Is it?
Yeah, because 2
have that memorized.
Yeah, 2 would play 7 if 4 and
Okay,
had, so
7-10. I don't know these things. I also didn't know there was a method to find out how many days are in each month, and then people are like counting on their knuckles, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. So 7-10. Let's see which one I can read. Let's do Emu and Swan because I can read them.
Okay. Emu versus Swan.
Is that the Swan Goose or is it just the Swan?
Just the Swan. We don't need your joke.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
It's flashing back to yesterday. You know what I noticed? We have Aaron Solomon coming up later on.
Yeah.
Today is Canadian April Fool's Day.
Is it?
Yes. So just ask him about it when he comes on.
You're joking.
No, I'm serious. Today is Canadian April Fool's Day.
Why?
Because I asked him about Canadian Christmas.
No. But like,
Okay.
why?
Because April 4th is annually Canadian April Fool's Day.
Yeah, he's lying.
I really wanted you to go happy Canadian April Fool's Day to Aaron Solomon.
See, I don't believe you and I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Who we picking for the Final Four? That's happening, right? And the Natty's Monday,
I
fellas.
picked Florida in my personal brackets. I'll stick with it.
I do have your answers out there of who's going to win.
If Duke wins, I win the bracket here.
There you go. Yeah, I'll talk about that. You got a text to join the company bracket, and I didn't. I was not notified.
I don't think I got a text.
An email?
I think I got an email.
Didn't get anything.
Probably went to your business one.
Nope, didn't get anything.
It's because my best friend works here, and he's the one who reached out to me. That's why. I just assumed that all of you were going to take part.
No, I don't take part in those.
I didn't get anything.
I don't partake in anything office related. I just don't.
I try to, but then things like this happen, and then I don't.
I'm sorry that happened.
Or like I try to send everybody Super Bowl touchdown prop locks, and then somebody at our company who is in the building like one day every year sends the gambling hotline number. That's real funny. Kelsey scored a touchdown. That's all your loss. So yeah, man, just why participate in stuff?
Because you might win.
Yeah, everyone here stinks.
You might win.
I just don't want to deal with everybody. So I don't.
So you knew about the bracket? And you're like, nah, that's fun. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Didn't even cost anything. It was free.
I heard it was $10.
Yeah, I heard.
Maybe they just don't charge you because
No, it was free.
No,
$10
somebody
bucks.
else told me it was
It's
$10.
Somebody here paid for everyone.
Oh, was it you?
No,
Was it Ed?
I'm not saying. I don't know if that person wants it out there. But all I know
That
is
was awfully nice
I
of
did
them.
not have to pay.
Well, that was awfully.
It was awfully nice. Yes,
It was awfully nice of them to let everybody know that was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
what
anyway.
a bunch of jerks.
I hate it here.
I once sent a all staff email on accident, and for that reason, I will never do anything that incorporates everybody. I made one mistake in my life, saying I can't attend the Christmas party. I will be at the Virginia game.
You were getting asked like a month later, like, "Hey, Paul, are you coming to the Christmas party?"
Yeah. So I never partake in the whole thing because everybody's just insufferable.
Okay then.
Yeah, but I hope you win that bracket though.
I knew too that nobody told me it was getting covered by somebody else.
It was like a last second decision about that.
Huh. Yeah, because they shouldn't have been charging in the first place. Thank you. This is uncomfortable. Somebody's.
I'm sure all of that was discussed at a very good time that didn't interfere with other company
when
business.
The non-sports employees were talking, the people who generate revenue.
Are you guys done?
Yeah.
Being bitter?
I could go all day. Like, I really could.
What?
You just gave me an avenue to complain about here.
What?
You gave me an avenue.
What would you rather have happen? Jordan and I complaining about not being part of the family or cement jokes?
Yes. Complain.
I could literally do it for the next hour.
Well,
you could cut the commercials.
You can't.
I could go until 2. You guys wouldn't even have. You guys could walk out, and I could complain for the next hour.
We've got several guests coming up, so you actually can't do that.
Well,
I mean, you could do it, just not in here.
Well, I could do it in here, and then just everybody.
Oh, Jack Keenan's coming on.
Yeah.
V-Mix?
Yeah. Should be.
He might not have a lot of fans in Central New York. He tweeted something that I found sketch. But he did admit that he's not a basketball guy, but he asked legitimately if Carmelo Anthony was a Hall of Famer.
I saw that.
I don't know whether or not to take people's tweets seriously since you started being able to profit off them. Like, that's an engagement machine.
Absolutely is. I don't know if he was screwing around or not.
But we'll find out.
Yeah.
Let's get to a break. We'll bring on Jack Joe Keenan on the other side so he can defend himself if he needs to. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
I don't like him. He's the one who sent that email.
Well, I like him.
Well, I would like him too in this situation. I love free opportunities.
Padres are on today.
That was fun. We should find avenues for me to complain about eating here more often. Like once a week, Friday.
I don't know if that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's not a great idea.
I don't think it's a great idea.
Put on a microphone. Let's go to concert.
You have pink pants on. Someone was just shitting and blowing their nose at the same time. I walked into. Oh, what in the hell is going on in this building? Like, you know that over-the-top trumpet nose blow?
Yeah.
Someone was sitting in the bathroom stall, blowing their nose and shitting at the same time.
PawnPro.com. WTLA North Syracuse, WSGO Oswego, W249 Cincinnati-Dale, W261 AC Oswego, WTKWHD2 Bridgeport, ESPN Radio, ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
Slow skate. No more rhyme from Debbie Gibson on Debbie Gibson Day.
When the fear sets in, where the fire burns.
What?
I don't know, it's just super slow. I wasn't ready for it to be that depressing.
All right, let's go back to our guest line. We've got 3 interviews in a row to kick off hour number 2, beginning with our good friend Jack Joe Keenan, host of George's Box podcast, to talk Yankees baseball. Before we get into Yankees baseball, though, Paulie, as you said, you saw a tweet that we want to ask Jack about.
Yeah, were you being serious when you asked if Carmelo Anthony was really a Hall of Famer?
Yes, I said from the beginning, I said, I'm not a huge basketball guy. Is he a Hall of Famer? And as far as I see, he made the All-Star game about half the time, never first-team All-NBA, no individual awards, no championships. And I asked if, at the same time, the Olympics factored in because he's one of the greatest Olympians of all time. And I got an answer. So, yes, he belongs in the Hall ofAme.
Okay.
All right, end of story.
Yeah, people didn't like that. And I get it, right? He's your guy, Syracuse, like... I thought my
he's
dad
royalty
was
around here, so
I thought my dad was the coolest guy. Then I met other guys who were cooler. So like I get it. Carmelo's your guy. He's there. There just happen to be other guys.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, he's.
I said that he said he was not a basketball guy.
People do jump down your throat there. Like you ask a question, that's Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that he never sniffed a title in the NBA is certainly used against him often. You know, I will say that he wasn't on great teams in the NBA. And I know, if you're a great player, people look at LeBron and say, look at some of the teams that he's, dragged to the finals. I get that.
He dragged the Nuggets to the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, he definitely had some good years. For team success, but yes, I mean, 10th all time in scoring, won the title, won a bunch of Olympic golds. I think that he's very deserving, and obviously making it on the first ballot. What were you going to say, Paul?
I was going to just say, on a more serious note, something you are known to know about is cheating, and the Yankees seem to be doing that with their torpedo bats right now.
With those totally legal bats.
Yeah. What do you make of this? What of the whole controversy of the torpedo bats?
I don't think there's a controversy. The league knows. They're not hiding it. It's not a corked bat. You don't need an X-ray to see what's going on. You go up there. The guy holds a bat. You can see exactly what it is. They went to the league. They said, "Hey, are these legit? Here's why we're doing it." The league said, yes, it follows all guidelines. The guy who came up with it is a coach for the Marlins. Other teams are using it. They're just not using it well.
Right. And we should point that out, right? I mean, I think some of it is the reason they're getting all this attention is it's the Yankees. You look at the runs that they put up, the amount of home runs that they're hitting, although Judge is not using the torpedo bat, right? And I think people need to be aware of that. But, how much they've set this record for most home runs through X number of games. How much is it just this lineup is really, really good? And how much of it do you think is the benefit of trying something new and these bats are helping the cause?
I think it's a combination. Like, it's a strong lineup that's hot right now. They're trying something new with, where the barrel of the bat is and how they're changing it. And I'm not a scientist. I think they canceled sports science years ago. But there's also maybe a little bit of just, I've been told this is a better bat that I'm swinging, so I'm going to swing it better. I'm going to make better contact because I was told that's what this is going to do. Like, I don't know if there's a placebo effect to it as well, but, if the guys are going in there again and saying, this is the bat I'm using, and the league says, yeah, you can use it, like, go nuts. Use every advantage.
All right, so let's talk about some of the individual players. I guess let's start with a couple of the newcomers in Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt. It's a small sample size, right? But, I mean, what have you liked, I guess, about those guys to this point? And how do you feel, I guess, about those two guys in particular?
It's nice to have defense at first base again. And Rizzo was a great defensive first baseman and kind of, lost it. We're not looking for Paul Goldschmidt in his late 30s to be an MVP candidate. We're looking for a guy who can field the ball, hit 20 home runs, 25 home runs, and bat 250. So far, it looks like he's going to do that. I think Bellinger, really helps shore up the defense. We have other options, in center field, so that guys can move around. We can get half days off. He's, playing for his next contract. So I think it's a good spot to be in because I've wanted the Yankees to take, when Conforto was available and he's looking for a prove-it deal. I think if you can get guys who have something to prove, you offer them the short porch in right field, they're going to deliver. They're going to be highly motivated to do it. So I like where they are. I like what we've seen so far. It's a really long season, though, so I'm not going to pencil us into the World Series just yet. But, all you can do is, in this first week, be excited about the way these guys are performing. Even when we're losing, it's competitive. The team's not giving up. There's no, we're not going quietly into the night. And that's really all you can ask for as a fan is guys who care, guys who are trying, and guys who are living up to the expectations that we have.
Anthony Volpe, 4 homers through 6 games, but he's batting .208, and he's got, 7 strikeouts so far. Can you live with, the good and the bad that comes with Anthony Volpe, or would you like to see him, does he need to be a little bit more consistent at the plate?
I'd like to see more consistency and less home runs. Like, the home runs are great, but at the same time, he's more valuable with his speed, getting on base, creating chaos out there, stealing bases. 2020 is great, to hit. But at the same time, if you hit 215 and hit 20 home runs, steal 25 bases, that's not really a good season, especially in a non-power position like shortstop.
All right, let's go to the bullpen. It's been a strength of this team, certainly. We've seen the last couple of nights that, there's been, a big inning given up by a relief pitcher. Is that a concern at all? Or, last night they still won the game. It didn't affect the outcome of the game. It made it a lot closer there at the end when it went from 9-3 to 9-7. Are you worried at all about the pitching staff as a whole? You got a bunch of starters who are hurt, and, based on what you've seen from the bullpen to this point, are you okay with the way the pitching staff looks as a whole?
I mean, I want Cole to miraculously come back next week, but that's not going to happen. I think at this point, it's early in the season. We've gotten some decent performances out of guys like Rodon, and we've got Carlos Carrasco had a good start for like what the expectations are for him. So I think we do have to have reasonable expectations. Like late in CeCe's career, everyone was just like, how's he not pitching like an ace? It's like, because he's a number 5 starter. So in terms of the rotation, they just have to go out there and battle, which it seems like they're doing. The bullpen's going to find it. I think the bullpen's interesting because you have to find a rhythm of who's going to be in what inning. And you have certain roles, and closer's a great place to have filled. But, as you look at who's the setup, who's going to go long relief, Boone has time to experiment. We often get in trouble when Boone thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He gets outmanaged there a lot. But at this point in the season, it's good to mix guys in. You've got to give guys enough rope to hang themselves in, April and May. And, we saw it for years with guys like Betances, where we know he's only got one inning in him, but we really need him to be able to go 2 innings. So you've got to try that out at points in the season. And I think experimenting with guys in different spots, giving them the opportunity to, go out there, fail, learn from it, and come back is things that you can be afforded in April and May when you have the lineup that we have and when you play in a league that, most of the teams make the playoffs.
I feel like we have to preface everything we ask with, I know it's only been a week, but the Blue Jays leading the way in the division. A lot of people were high on the Red Sox and Orioles. They're at 3-4. Has anything surprised you to this point, even though it's only been a week, whether it's in the division or just across the board in Major League Baseball?
I mean, I'm surprised how good the Dodgers are, which, they're the World Series champions and they have Ohtani. So it's, crazy to even think, I can't believe that they're pretty good. And even like the Padres being 7-0. Those undefeated teams, and we don't have to worry about them until the World Series, but they have been really impressive. I think the AL East is going to be a fight like it always is. We may have multiple teams make it into the postseason. I think the Red Sox are going to play better than they have. I think the Heat in Tampa of not playing in a dome may eat at them over time. So it's going to be interesting, what happens. I think the Blue Jays are really banking on having a decent year so that they even have a chance to get Vlad to come back. But I do think that they fall off like they have in recent years as time goes on. The Yankees are in a position where they could stay hot and they could win the division. They could end up being a wild card team. There's just like so many balls up in the air, especially not having Cole.
One last big picture baseball question from me, and it relates to the suspension of Jurickson Profar. And I was talking with Paulie about this the other day about
who are you to talk about cheating?
That's a good point. Oh, Paulie just woke up.
He wasn't on the
Paulie just woke up. Well, I guess that's where I was going with this, is that you don't know when this started, right? And in the offseason, he cashed in on a 3-year deal worth, what was the money? I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money, $42 million. 3 years, $42 million. And he gets dinged for PED use. And I know why they don't make it so that you can get out of contracts. Like, I know it's been collectively bargained, and that's the way the rules are. My question to you is, Jack, do you think someday we'll get to a point where a team can void a contract like that, or a big contract like that, if a guy cashes in the offseason and then immediately is caught cheating? Do you think we'll get to a point where teams will be able to void contracts?
Yeah, I think that at some point, even though it's in the collective bargaining agreement, somebody is going to try to get out of the contract. It's going to turn into a lawsuit, and it may go as high as the Supreme Court. But I think that when you look at it, there's morality clauses in there. So I think there is some room to say, well, we signed you to be this is a family game. We're trying to get kids back to the game, and you have violated the morality clause by cheating, and we can use that as a way to get it. I think it will end up in court at some point. Someone is going to try it. But that's kind of the risk. Melky Cabrera is a great example of that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And I was talking to my son about it, and I used that as the example. I was like, to me personally, it doesn't make a ton of sense that, teams can't get out of it. And I guess that you look at it and say, well, it's just a half of year, and it's a 3-year contract, so they don't, they still want Jurickson Profar to play for them. And, if you make a big deal of it, then that relationship will be frayed, and then he's not going to stay there. I get that, but it just seems unfair to the team that they sign up for something and what they got is not what they signed up for.
Yeah, I think when we've seen this, most of the time we run into, if you look at the Padres right now, they don't want to get rid of him. they're unhappy with the situation, but they don't want to put him on the street and let someone else sign him. So until there is somebody, and like A-Rod would have been a great example of that, but then he came back and hit 30 home runs. So you can't a year later say, well, actually we wanted to get rid of him then. I think that would have been the number one opportunity for this to start. And it's going to have to be like a multi-year, one of these 10-year contracts or something like that clearly has a bad second half on the contract. They're going to say like, well, it's 3 years in to this 7-year deal. Let's get out of this.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Jack. All right, great stuff as always. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the start of this baseball season. I'm sure we'll talk with you again soon.
Can't wait.
Joining us here on the program. We'll hit it. When we come back, we're going to keep the interviews going. We've got
of our best guests back to get back. Regulars.
Aaron Solomon coming up at 1:30. Before we get to Aaron, we've got Chris Carlson coming in.
Oh, yeah. He's not so great.
CJC, right?
Yes.
We'll talk to him next.
For those that know him in the chat.
On ESPN Radio.
That's Jack Jokinen. He hosts or does a very popular blog on George's Box podcast. He's been on multiple times. He's a great guest. Hey, that's not Chris Carlson. What up? How you been? Long time no see. I'm not buying meat right now, so it might be weird for you to see me.
I don't actually look at you all the time. Only on Thursdays when you're there.
Yeah. Between the hours of we're meat buddies? Is that what you just called up?
I was just messing with him, telling him that I'm
He's. I want to be meat buddies with somebody. Come on, don't you think it'd be fun to go buy meat and we barbecue?
I'm firm out.
Firm. I would definitely have a meat buddy where I go and I buy steaks or pork chops and chicken and we go grill it. Hell yeah. I want a meat buddy.
What do you think about fake BBL injections where people get...
I get it, I'm short. Stand up when you shake a man's hand. Fucking moron. Yeah.
All the kids watching the show are just learning new words. All of them.
Could you win the Masters if you putted only?
100%.
I think him and Tim Leonard could.
Colgan was very adamant that the average person could not.
Well, yeah.
The average person could not. You could not do it. You could not do it, but I could.
What's your handicap?
I'm a 4.
Oh, yeah, you could.
It says 3 on the site, but that was from 3 years ago, and I've gotten a stroke worse, I guess.
Oh, no.
What are you going to do? Get married? Having twins?
You'll lose a stroke. You'll lose a stroke.
Not funny. I'm going back to yesterday.
I remember.
I'm going to go golf after this.
Where are you going?
So I'll cross you out a meat buddy.
Cross me out as meat buddy for sure.
I got a nice deck.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I was inviting you.
I know, but if you were my meat buddy, you could come over and...
Could we smoke meat together?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be a huge part of Meat Buddy. Smoking meat. Anybody want to be my meat buddy?
The biggest
part. When Steve comes back in the room, we have to stop with the meat buddy.
Why? That sounds so fun. We cook steaks. We use different marinades. Steve, I got a new level of friendship if you're willing to do.
What?
Meat buddy. We just grill out all the time and buy different meats. You wouldn't see. He wouldn't be I'd be like, hey, I was at the store and they've got ostrich. You want to try it? You would.
That's what I was looking. Where are they?
Right there.
I was just kidding.
Oh.
The black ones I gave to Jordan last year.
Oh my God! What the hell happened to those?
I don't know. Someone probably sold them on the black market.
Are they in there?
No, I was just kidding.
No, that's bullshit. That somebody stole them.
They might be in TK. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, Kevin from Liverpool's got a Pit Boss smoker. Meat buddy. I'm not making it. I am the one not making it uncomfortable. If someone immediately
the way you're saying it, like,
what would be a better name? A meat club?
Like meat buddy, yeah.
Yeah, because it's manly. I'll start a meat club. Meat of the month.
Chocolate crew. Meat of the month. Filet friends.
Everybody else is out there doing their book clubs, and I'm just meeting it up.
Poultry packs.
Yeah. Grill buddy.
No, it's gonna be a litter. The grilling gang.
Meat mate.
Meat mate. That sounds like a bad website.
Seasoning squad. Good luck, have fun, speak loud.
All right, Chris, yeah, come over here just a little bit so you get on camera. Yep, good. Sure. Is the volume okay for the headphones?
Get real close to Steve.
Debbie Gibson's our artist of the day today, Steve. I thought I found a really cool idea during the commercial break, Steve, that I thought every guy on earth would jump at the opportunity. If I started like a friendship with a guy, and what we did was we just go to the store and buy different meats and grill them up like a meat buddy. So you try new ones, bison, steaks, and we just cook them different ways, smoke them. And apparently it's not a good idea.
I don't think you think it's a good idea either.
Oh, no.
You're so antisocial.
No, I know, but Steve, I love cooking.
Yeah, but you don't like people.
I like grilling out.
Yeah, but you don't like people. So just do that on your own and then make like a YouTube channel or like do TikToks.
No, I think I want somebody to like,
I don't think you do.
Then we could have like meat offs.
I don't think so.
We could have like, it'd be like chopped. Secret ingredient meat. CJC's here. Chris Carlson. Not that Chris Carlson.
Not that Chris Carlson. I learned that.
And he's doing something good for society. Yes.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. I appreciate the time, and I can kind of get right into it if that works
Yeah,
for you
so
guys.
tell us about this this idea that you're taking part in.
Yeah. So the McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center is located here in Onondaga County. They are a nonprofit organization. They're dedicated to ending child abuse and supporting children and families affected by it. The center brings together law enforcement, child protection, medical professionals, and victim advocates under one roof to provide a coordinated and compassionate response to child abuse. Their services include like forensic interviews, therapy, victim advocacy, prevention education, and community outreach. So basically the goal is to help children heal and ensure justice is served while raising awareness and working to prevent abuse from happening in the first place within our community. So one of the fun ideas they had a few years back was to get 20 idiots to play 100 holes of golf in one day. I know, Steve, you wouldn't really be a fan of that, I don't think.
He could do it. He just couldn't use his driver.
Just can't use my driver. But yeah.
Because he's got
it sounds like fun.
A neck impingement.
I do. I have a neck
So
impingement.
4 irons off the tee all day.
That's right.
For you.
That's right. All day. Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. So we do this out at Bellevue every year. This is my 3rd year doing it. And I just kind of wanted to put some awareness out there. And I know I listened to the show a lot and wanted the opportunity to come on and tell everyone about it a bit. It is really important to me, and I've been doing it for a while now. So.
How can people raise money through you to do this?
Yeah. So So if you Google McMahon Ryan Child Advocacy Center, I think it's McMahonRyan.org is the site. They have a bunch of options to donate and work through different sponsors. But what we do is the 100 Holes for Kids. So that's listed in there on their website, and you can donate to a specific golfer. And my name is in there. It's Chris Carlson, not the writer. But any donations to any golfer obviously is super helpful to reach our goals.
You're absolutely right. McMahonRyan.org. At the top, you'll find a tab that says events. You go to events, and it's got all the different events listed, including this one at Bellevue Country Club, May 19th. And then you can view our 2025 golfers, and then you've got a list of everybody who's taken part.
Yep.
What got you involved? You said that you started this a few years back. You said this is your third time, and that this is an organization that is very important to you. What made you want to get involved with this?
Yeah, so I grew up in the community. I went to Henniger High School, so grew up in the city, and I saw a lot of folks that needed help. That time, I didn't really know about this center, and I always thought, I always tried to open my home. My parents always accepted, anyone coming over and giving someone a meal if anybody needed a meal and all that stuff. So my dad worked for the county in child services for a while. So that was it's always been a big part of my life. And then I noticed, so I was in the golf industry out of college, and I noticed some of the members at the Pompey Club in Timber Banks were associated with the McMahon Ryan Fund. And they were doing this 100 holes. And I thought, well, I like to golf, and it's a cool idea to be able to give money back to our community, in a really well-organized way. So I reached out, and I was put into contact with Tom McMahon, and we've been rolling for 3 years ever since.
Steve.
Paulie.
I asked Chris if he could win the Masters just putting from the farthest point. We did that.
We had that conversation, yeah.
He could.
Yeah?
I think I could, yeah.
Yeah, he could.
Because he's not the average Joe.
Yes.
On the golf course.
I asked him what his handicap was, and I was shook.
Is it a single digit?
It is, yeah.
Is it close to zero?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's closer to zero than
10. Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
I'm impressed, too. We're in the presence of greatness. Did you play, like, high school golf and whatnot?
I played at Henniger.
Yeah.
I played since 7th grade at Henniger. So I was on the team for quite a while, and then I went to SUNY Cortland, and I played club golf there.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really, SUNY Cortland. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And yeah, I didn't really know what to do after college, and I ended up getting a job at the Pompey Club and really diving into the golf world there. So yeah, that kind of set me on the path.
So this event is at Bellevue. My dad has belonged to Bellevue since I've been alive. I've played there many times. Do you have a favorite hole at Bellevue?
Yes. So we start basically at 7 a.m. and we all go out to a hole and we just tee it up and go. So the holes kind of lose me a little. But I think it is number 11. No, it's 3. What's the short par 3?
3 is the short par 3 with the crazy green.
I love playing that because we end up playing about 5.5 rounds of golf. So I play that hole 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So everyone's always trying to make a 1.
Of course, yeah, right.
And they put the tee or the pin right exactly where it should be. And I was close last year on my first one. I was about 2 inches from a 1.
So there's like a little valley in the green. Is that
yeah,
is that
pretty
where,
much,
is that where they put the hole so that
Yes.
if you're long or short, it can funnel toward the hole?
Yeah.
I don't have Stephen Fonte money, but I grew up near there, and I used to sled down the hill next to Velasco Road.
That was frowned upon.
I would sneak on and do that.
Funny enough, I did too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the place to be. How many aces do you have?
I have 1.
You have 1?
Yep. I was actually 7 years old.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was in the Post Standard. Somebody wrote a piece on me too.
and as much golf as you've played, you haven't had one since?
No, I've had an albatross. That's
almost more impressive.
Yeah, that was in college in an event. So
that's cool.
That was cool. It was a driver 2-iron from 240
in the bird bracket. Also
talking about the albatross in the bird bracket. Talking about breaking your opponent's spirit. That's got to be tough to bounce back from if you're the opponent.
It was tough to bounce back from for me because I wasn't having a great day, and then the next few holes I was just of like,
right.
I was all over the place.
Helps get the round back on track.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Chris, about this that you want to get across to our listeners or viewers? Again, the most important thing is to donate, right? And you can do that right at the website, McMahonRyan.org. Anything else about this event you want to get out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's right here in our community, and I know it means a lot to everyone in our community that we can do this. They help over 1,000 kids a year, and I think that's really important. So it is National Child Abuse Awareness Month, so right now is a great time to jump on that website, as Steve mentioned, and help in any way you can. They also do a lot of really cool events outside of the 100 holes. So definitely do some digging and just learn about it, I think, is the biggest ask too, other than donation. I mean, the more everybody can know about everything that these kids go through, I think the more eager everyone will be to help.
Well said. Again, the event May 19th. That's a Monday over at Bellevue Country Club. Chris, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys
All
for
right,
having me.
We'll take a time out. We got Aaron Solomon set to join us on the other side. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
You survived it. Don't ever get a butt implant in a storage unit.
Fine. I'll have to deny. I brought one of these too. It's kind of just a printout with the scan. It goes right to my site.
Oh, nice. Okay.
If you have somewhere to put it, or I don't know, anything, or if anybody at Galaxy wants to take a look at it, or News Channel 9.
Yeah, right. So if I made a copy of this, would the
Yes,
QR
Steve.
code work at Channel 9?
Yep.
I don't know how that works. Like, it has to be the original, or like I don't know. I don't know how that works. Like, if you print it not in color, it's fine, right? I know the QR code's black and white. I'm just asking to make sure.
Yes, Steve.
Yeah, it translates.
Okay, I'm gonna make a copy and I'm gonna bring one to Channel 9,
I appreciate that.
and we'll leave one here.
Okay. I'll hang it up in this break room.
All right. Thank you for bringing that.
Thank you, guys.
CJC, great job.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
If you ever need a meet, buddy, let me know.
All right. Sounds good.
I'll buy the first round of steaks.
So if I said I wanted to do this, what would you say?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm
you don't
saying
like to,
yes.
You don't like to hang out with people.
Because no, I don't want to hang out. I want to make meat. Cody will do it. Cody gets what I'm. It's something I have interest in. Cody will be a meat man with me.
I'll try and beat your meat.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually want to do it, though.
Yes, I
He
do.
doesn't.
For at least once.
Okay, well, you were like,
Cody,
oh,
wouldn't
we'll
that
do
be
it
fun?
once a week
It'd
or
be
once
fun,
a
but
month.
I'm with Steve. You won't. You'll say all that, and
Yeah.
then like the day will come and be like,
Yeah.
I got
I don't
diarrhea.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly.
How about just solo meat man?
You just what you want is you can do it at your house. I'll do it here, and then we bring them
Can I
there.
can I have a meat club where it's just one person?
Yes.
Just those Paulie.
You can try and beat your meat by yourself.
Polly's personal meat club. Is Tammy here? Yeah, thank you. You're trying to box me in. Maybe it's even a month. You guys are all so negative. I have a dream of a club where men smoke and make meats, and you just shit all over it. I have a dream where men share meat.
Just stop.
I do. Meat can be a bonding agent. I don't care if it's tongue, heart, liver. I'll try it all. Butthole, whatever it is. Polly cooks it up. Ooh, nice to meet you. That'd be a great name for the club, Alphabet Guy. And you just meet. I'm going to put up an ad at Nichols. Want to join my meat club? Gaber, shut up. Because I really want to do this. And I'm going to see if we can get it sponsored. And I say, hey, go to blank because the meat of the month is this. And you go buy it. I'm sorry that you're not adult enough to hear the term meat. Oh, I like sausages. We can make sausages. This summer is going to be lit. Venison. There you go, Jen B. I do that. Did I do Foolish Beat already?
I don't know.
I don't care. Foolish Beat. Debbie Gibson Day. We haven't had Aaron on in a while.
We haven't.
Since the incident.
Canadian Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, I was trying to get Steve to believe that today was Canadian April Fool's Day joke, and he actually Googled it.
But instead I don't trust Paulie at all. I don't trust Paulie. But I had to check. I had to double check just to make sure.
Instead, it's the launch of Paulie's Meat Club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
sorry that you had to listen to that.
Why are you guys so embarrassed by it? You don't think this
because you don't actually want to do this. You don't like people. You don't like hanging out with people.
What if I did it as just like, hey, we get a sponsor on it. They bring me a cut of meat each month, and then I cook it and say, hey, go to blah, 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 and this is the meat of the month.
That could work. But the whole thing that you want to get together and, like, cook meat with other guys, like, you don't want to.
I don't want it to be a lot. Just one other dude hang out on the porch and have a beer.
You don't want that because you don't like people. Okay. I know you very well. I know that you would not enjoy that. Aaron, it's great to chat with you. How are things?
Well, we went to all the expense today. No lead-in music, nothing.
Let's start with baseball. We had a guest on earlier talking Yankees, and we brought up the Jurickson Profar situation. Yeah. Played for Paulie's Padres, signed a pretty big contract. I mean, it wasn't 10 years, but 3 years, $42 million. That's nothing to sneeze at with the Atlanta Braves. And then he gets dinged for PED use. He's out for half the season, going to miss 80 games. This is something that has never made sense to me, and I understand that it's like in the collective bargaining agreement, right, that you can't void contracts. But I feel like if a team signs a guy and thinks they're getting a certain player, and it turns out, well, maybe his numbers were inflated because he was cheating and he was using PEDs, why can't the team get out of that? Do you think someday will come when teams are able to void contracts in a situation like this?
So the short answer is no, because there's a very strong defense argument on behalf of the player and their lawyer that the team knew or should have known what they were getting into. But let's play devil's advocate for a moment, which is part of the reason that I'm here. And I would say that there's really kind of a few main avenues that a team could go down if they wanted to get out of the contract. And the first would be fraudulent inducement, right? Just to say that the player knew exactly what was going on. The player was very dishonest throughout the entire process of interviewing, testing, etc. And essentially the player fraudulently induced the team to sign him. So that's one thing that I would do. I just want to do two more very, very quickly. The second one that I would do was that the player actually misrepresented, right? So it's not just like a failure to disclose, PED, but like, let's say this player had a long history of PED abuse and use, and the player was asked and the player was like, no, absolutely not. That's a misrepresentation. The third one, which I think a team could actually probably get their claws into a little bit, is around kind of the morals clause and what we think of as standard contractual protections, right? Like you can't do something that is violative of social policy within a contract. So I think that a team could make a pretty cogent legal argument that would say the fact that this person is using PEDs but went into sign the contract with us is a violation of the moral clause. Now, of course, we all know the reality is that if a team decided to take on a player, that they're going to be fighting with the players' union. And that's not something that any Major League Baseball team or any team in any major sport really wants to do. So the answer is, yeah, they could try, but it's probably not worth the money, the time, and the fallout from the fan base in doing so.
Wouldn't this also make Major League Baseball look bad with their testing policy if somebody has been able to skirt the policy up until the point where they're actually caught?
Well, yeah, very bad, right? I mean, you would think that again, you just said at the beginning of the segment that it's not a huge contract as far as MLB terms go. But you would think with the kind of money from being thrown around Major League Baseball and the NFL these days, that the teams would ask the right questions and test for what they want to test for. So the fact that this wasn't caught, or the fact that this person's reputation didn't precede them, and the team didn't do better. This is, again, what we talk about with all contracts, right? They didn't do better due diligence. It's kind of incumbent upon the team. It's a little bit embarrassing to them, which is another reason I think that they wouldn't pursue it.
Talk about a lot. That's the NCAA transfer portal. And, the dates of when it opens, there's a lot of things people don't like about it. And I think what really rubs people the wrong way is the fact that the college kids can be free agents after every year, where at least if you're in the NBA or NFL, you've got a contract, you stay somewhere for 3-4 years, whatever it is. In college, it's, all right, season's over, where am I going next? Do you think that it could ever be limited how much a kid could transfer in that? And the old rule, Aaron, that it used to be if you transferred, you had to sit out a year before you were eligible. Do you ever think we could get back to a point where, okay, one-time transfers are okay, but if you transfer more than once, you would have to sit out a year? Or would the player just sue and get his way anyway?
And back in the old days, every coach would bemoan, oh, heaven forbid, one of my 5 starters for basketball is one and done. Where now every good player in college basketball, not just the men's game, but now the women's game too, is essentially a repeated one and done. And we're in an absurd time right now because of the COVID rules where we're seeing people get 5th and 6th year eligibility. But to answer your question, no, as I said in the beginning, I say this every time I'm on the show, NIL was going to be the wild, wild west. Part of that wild, wild west is that the student athletes are now empowered to shop their own best deal. And if that means for a football or a basketball player that they're going to spend 4 seasons in 4 different teams because their coach leaves or there's better NIL incentives to do so, that's the way it's going to be. So essentially, it's a reconstitution of the old one and done, but with more players. But rather than one and done just meaning I'm going to the pros, it's meaning I'm going to another team in conference or another team across the country for more money. What we're going to see is a lot more money, and it's not just going to be the car dealership or Gatorade got me a deal, but I'm so good that the next Cooper Flag might stay for another year for part of the school's TV contract.
Yeah, right. It's amazing. Paul,
is there a way to stop this? Even with the toothpaste out of the tube, is there a way that a ruling body could put an end to this where you're getting multi-year contracts, the players have to have buyouts to get out of it? Is there an answer to stop this?
Well, I love the analogy of the toothpaste in the tube because I'm sure there's a way to put toothpaste back in the tube, but I personally don't know what it is. The ultimate arbiter here, the ultimate governing body is going to be the Supreme Court of the United States. And the Supreme Court of the United States wants nothing to do with this because it's a no-win situation. No matter what the court does, it's going to look bad, right? You're either restraining the trade from these poor young people who for generations have not been able to earn a living while bringing in millions of dollars, and the coaches get $10, $12, $15 million a year, or they're essentially killing amateur sport. So they're not going to want to touch it. They would never grant cert to something like this unless it was a case with a deeply compelling fact set, which I don't see today or on the horizon.
Could you make players employees?
Well, yes, but then you're opening the whole can of worms that I wrote about last year in Fortune, where the Dartmouth basketball team was like, we actually are unionized. And nobody wants to go there.
Right. All right, let's stay with basketball. Some news that came out today regarding Ja Morant. I'm sure you're familiar with the story with Ja, right? He's had some off-the-court issues involving guns. Had this celebration, using like finger guns in a celebration, was told by the league, knock it off, don't do that. Did it again last night. Now he's, the size of the gun seems to be getting bigger in the celebration. He was fined today, $75,000. What do you make of this? And do you feel like it's well within the right of the league to do this?
As my friends in the Deep South would say, bless his heart. $75,000 is a very good deal for Ja Morant. The one piece we left out is after the warning from the National Basketball Association, don't do the finger pointing gun thing, he does it the same night, and then he goes, I don't care. On top of his history of discipline. So it's perfectly within their purview. And by the way, when I was told just before this segment that it was $75,000, I was a little surprised because I thought they were going to hit him a little harder. They're going to hit him harder next time. There's something in life called a learning curve. And while he's a remarkably talented basketball player, he continues to exhibit that his is not rapid. And I think the NBA has a responsibility to the game, to the young people who follow the game, and to the other players that, it's one thing when Dennis Schroeder, one of my favorite players, does that freeze thing where he's like, shooting ice into his veins and everybody copies that now. It's another thing with people like fake shooting each other on the court. The thing is, the line has to be drawn somewhere. And I think most of us who love the game and love the personalities would agree that fake shooting is the line.
Yeah. 100%. I'm right there with you there, Aaron. Let's go to a sport that you like quite a bit, and that is the sport of tennis. Number one ranked player Jannik Sinner had 2 positive doping tests, but only got a 3-month suspension. Some other players have been public saying that, gone public to say they feel like he was shown some favoritism. What do you make of that whole situation?
Well, he was shown massive favoritism. And, people should look at some of the articles around tennis and doping and testing and things like that, because it's a real mess. Both he and Iga Swiatek, which was the number one, now the number 2 women's player, have gotten off very easy for having violations of the drug policy. What it comes down to is the fact that the rules are not being uniformly applied. You have players like Sweden's Mikael Ymer, who I think has a career high of around 100, and he got like a 2-year or 1.5 to 2 year suspension for something much more minor than Sinner's 4 months. Sinner's 4 months, parenthetically, happened so he doesn't even miss a major. It happened after the Australian Open, and he's re-eligible before the French Open. So he gets all his money and keeps the major ranking points. Tennis is an extremely corrupt sport at the professional level. We've seen that over the past couple of years with gambling scandals, and now we're seeing it with, in unequal treatment of people who are abusing the drug system. Well, and again, the rules are very strict. We're not talking about hard drugs. Tennis, as an example, has something that says if you get an IV, I believe you can only get 300 milliliters of fluid. If you get a 500 milliliter fluid, you've essentially broken the rules. So the rules are quite strict, but they're being unevenly applied. That tends to fall under the radar of most of our sports reporting because it's a little bit hard to follow. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of corruption in men's and women's tennis at the higher levels.
We are running short on time, but let's do one more. This story about Mary Kate Cornett. She's a student at Ole Miss, I believe a freshman. It says she intends to pursue legal action against ESPN's Pat McAfee, among others, after she became the subject of a viral story involving her boyfriend and his family. McAfee spoke about it on his shows and podcasts, and Cornett says the attention that she received, not just from that, but online, and feels like she was bullied online. It's forced her to move into emergency housing. She's had to take classes online. Her family's house has been swatted. I saw an interview with her today. She said basically it's ruined her life. Does she have a case, whether it's against Pat McAfee or those who kind of originated this story, which she says is completely false and fabricated and went out there? She says it ruined her life. Is there anything her and her family can do, I guess, legally?
I guarantee you that she's going to be millions richer. Guarantee it, 100%. Replay the clip. Here's why. It's reckless and it's defamatory. And for somebody of Pat McAfee's, scope, popularity, annual income, to even be hinting at something like this was deeply reckless. This young woman's life is pretty much ruined. This is going to follow her, false or partially true or whatever, and I believe everything that we're hearing is false, for the rest of her life. It's going to, and what her lawyer is going to say, is this is not only affecting her mental and physical health, it's going to affect her ability to earn for the rest of her life. So it's going to be millions and millions of dollars. I don't think this is going to go to trial, by the way. We're not going to be seeing this on court TV. I think this is going to be fairly silently settled, and it's going to be well into the seven figures.
So I do have one question on this. If you see something on Facebook or Twitter and you're famous and you report on it, you can be held liable for what that story actually says? Does that make sense?
Aaron, are you still there?
I can't hear you guys anymore. I can only hear Jordan, by the way.
Oh, that would be why. I had just asked if you, we'll worry about it. Never mind.
No, it's a great question. Aaron, you don't hear us? You don't hear us, Aaron? Just make it one last effort. No, we don't have him. Okay, but it's a good question, something we can follow up with him.
I'm back. I'm back, guys. I was disconnected.
Oh, you are back. You are back.
Just a quick question. If you're famous, you see something on the internet, you report on it, you can be held liable for what the report on the internet says.
If you're famous and you read something these days on the quote-unquote internet, shut your mouth.
So, Paulie, be careful on your kickers.
Be careful on the meat club.
Right, exactly.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Aaron, we got to roll. Thanks so much for coming on. We love hearing from you as always. Aaron Solomon, our guest on the show. And with that, we'll hit our final timeout. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
Ready to start. My watch just told me. Who cares if he's a punter? The hell's that? Are punters stupid? Someone sounds jealous. Do you want the color one because it might work better?
No.
It might work better.
I was just checking. I don't know much about QR codes.
It was a story about a girl who was accused of sleeping with her boyfriend's father. All you gotta do is open the camera and hold it to the picture, and it'll have a little yellow black box, and you poke it.
Okay. I got class, so I gotta leave immediately.
You're not better than us.
I didn't say I was better than you. I'm just saying, sometimes you stall on purpose. Don't stall on purpose.
I'm cracking myself up today. I'm sorry. I hate that I found something that brought, everybody says I'm grumpy and angry, and I find something that brought me joy in everybody. Everybody just crapped all over it. Yeah, don't stall, you peasant. That's the way it came across. That is correct. CJC going to get some sweet and Infani cheddar.
I'll donate. If I can figure out how to use the QR.
Way to put him on the spot, Matt from Auburn. Good job.
Yeah, I will donate.
Ooh, the dogs could have the scraps. So everybody's got dogs and meat. Oh, that sounds like two of my favorite things, Steve. Thank you, Phil. You're on vacation next week?
Yeah.
Sweet. You need it. You deserve it. I mean.
All of the above.
I might have lamb for dinner tonight, speaking of meat. I had it on Monday, but maybe I'll just make another lamb dinner. It's so quick. Just sear each side, Steve. Still bad when you eat it. Really good. Little salt, pepper, mint jelly on top.
We're out of time.
You like lamb?
It's okay.
I'm expecting that from you.
I think you're gonna miss me next week. I don't think you're gonna have.
Shake Your Love. Debbie Gibson Day wraps up. Your choices for Monday are, how about Bob Dylan, Wham, Prince, and that's enough.
Go Wham.
This isn't just fabricated. I was going to say, let's give him the old wham.
Wham sweep.
All right.
A whammy, as you would call it.
And with that, we are out of time. We've got Cody coming up at 3, Brian at 4, Newhouse Afternoons coming up next, and then we are back at it noon tomorrow. Jordan's on vacation next week.
Enjoy your vacation.
You deserve it. We'll see you on Monday, everybody.